Hi everyone, it's been a hot minute since the last time I did a video. Probably wondering where the hell I've been. I've just been living life, doing my blog, all that yeehaw that I normally do. But I'm kind of liking getting back into the swing of doing videos, and I've said this many a time before, so I'm not going to put any pressure on it. I'm just going to make videos and let you see it as and when you see it. So if you want to know when I'm doing a video or when I've done a video, you'll have to subscribe and hit the wee bell thing to be notified when I've uploaded. So there's not going to be any rhyme or reason towards my videos. There's not going to be any formula. There's not going to be any pattern just now. Anyway, that's for sure. So you'll just have to do that if that's okay. And the main reason that I stopped doing YouTube was because of lack of engagement. Not because I was getting lack of views. I was quite happy with the views I was getting. I'm not really in it for that. But just because I didn't want to talk to myself. So say for example a video had 100 views. I would really appreciate it if just 3 or 4 people let me know that they were watching the video and either liked it or didn't like it, whatever you want to say, but I just wasn't getting any feedback whatsoever. So that was one of the reasons that I stopped doing it, and because I felt like I was wasting my time. So but if you like my videos and all that, I am here for you. Just leave a comment letting me know. Anyway, moving on from that, I wanted to do a video on an Instagram purchase that I made from Makiage. Now I wasn't gifted this, I wasn't sent this, I wasn't asked to I was not asked to talk about this, I was not sponsored or anything like that, and I bought this with my own money, and I just wanted to talk about it because it has a service, it has a few things I wanted to talk about, a few things I like, a few things I don't like, and I thought that you would like to know. So the purchase that I made was from Makiage. It's that foundation thing that has the 14-day money back guarantee. I am no novice to an Instagram purchase, and if you hear cars outside, I apologise. It is below 15 degrees but above 0 degrees here in Scotland, which means it's a heat wave. Sun's out, taps off, sun's out, taps off. If you're Scottish you ken what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I just wanted to talk about the purchases I've had before. I have bought obviously the Makiage foundation. I bought the shower head that sort of increases the pressure by 6 times or whatever it is, the pressure. I can't remember how much pressure it is. It works to an extent, it's pretty good. And I bought the waist shaper. It did not work. So if you could imagine cutting a pastry in half which had cheese in it, and imagine the cheese coming out of either side, that's what my stomach looked like with the waist shaper thing on. It was not a good time. And I also bought the in-shower Bluetooth radio thing, and it has yet to be used, so I'll report back on that if it's something you want to know about. But for now, from one beauty lover to a few others, I wanted to talk to you about the Makiage foundation. So Makiage was made in New York. It was actually not, it was made in Italy, but it's a New York company, and its tagline is makeup for maximalists. For me that means the opposite of minimalists, and I like to think of myself as I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a minimalist. I'm not lying to you if I say I'm a minimalist, but I don't think I'm a maximalist. So just taking a wee look at the actual leaflet here, it says this is what high standards look like. You get 14 days to try it for free. Our mission is to give you the quality you demand without ever compromising on the flawless experience you deserve. Enjoy your foundation on your terms, no strings attached, for 14 days. That was the selling point for me. I really liked that they believed in their product so much that they were willing to give you it for 14 days for free. And if you didn't like it or just didn't want it, you could say after that 14 days, no strings attached, no quibble, no nothing, I want my money back. I like that a lot. I do think it's a service that will be taken advantage of. I think a lot of people are going to take it, and even if they do like it, they're going to, just put some into one of the travel containers and keep a hold of it. Or maybe I'm just giving people ideas, I don't know. But I do think that that's something that's going to be taken for granted and taken advantage of a little bit. It is open to misuse, but I do love the fact that they believe in their product so much that they're happy to give it to you for free for 14 days. One thing I don't like so much is that the product company is based in America, which is absolutely fine, but I don't think they've got a UK distributor. This arrived within 4 to 5 working days, I would say, which is pretty impressive turnover, but they don't give you any indication on the website as to how quickly they're going to send it out to you. They do for America, but not for the UK and Ireland or any other countries. So that was a little bit confusing to me because I did want to know how quickly it would arrive because I'm impatient and I wanted to use it really quickly. And the other thing for me as well is that the returns policy for returning the product, it says at the bottom of the email, for certain countries you can't return it. So I was like freaking out thinking, okay, so I can't return this because I'm from the UK, but actually you can. I'm just not sure about import, export, that kind of thing, and I don't know if I can return it for free. That's something that remains to be seen as well. Anyway, so moving on, I wanted to talk to you about the rest of the leaflet. It just shows you some people, some very beautiful people wearing the foundation and showing it off. And then it talks about our formula. So here's where I get a little bit confused. When you are ordering this, your 14-day sample, for whatever, you are asked a whole load of questions about your skin type, your shades, your undertone, your the kind of finish that you like, the type of skin that you have, and so much information. And then they say that they're calculating which formula is best to give you. Now, to my knowledge, they only have one formula. I've done a wee bit of research and I can't see any other formula, so the only one they have is this one right here. So I'm kind of confused as to why they needed all that information if they only have one formula. That is something that I would like to know. Maybe it's something I can find, but as of right now, I've had a look on their website and I can't find any alternatives to that or any reasoning behind that. So take that as you will. I'm just letting you know about that. It does have 50 shades. I'm sure it says here. It has 50 shades for all skin tones. I applaud that so much because I get so frustrated at the fact that both people with dark skin tones invariably can't find something that suits their skin tone, and I appreciate now that so many more makeup brands are becoming more inclusive, but it's ridiculous it's taken so long to get to that point. And I also think that people like me who are like Casper the Friendly Ghost, I find it very difficult finding a foundation that is suitable to my skin tone. In fact, this shade here, which I think is the lightest shade, is actually too dark for my skin tone. You'll probably see that right now. My face is a different colour to the rest of me. So that's just something that again you should be sort of aware of, but I love the fact they have 50 shades. It's 100% cruelty free. It has a natural matte finish, a buildable medium to high coverage, contains vitamin E and hyaluronic acid for hydration and anti-aging. And it says here their pro tips as well. So when I was using this and testing it over the last 10 days it's been so far, every day, I prepped and used it to the same standards as I would use any other foundation. So I put on my moisturiser, I used my hydration spray, and I used my primer, and that's it for me. I also obviously used a setting spray as well. I used the Urban Decay All Nighter spray. It's just a standard one. I'm quite happy with it, and that's the way that I did it. But the pro tips here are to prep your skin with a moisturiser and primer. Tick. This formula plays well with a rounded, full-bodied brush like our 100 foundation brush for lighter coverage. Snag a sponge. I used a sponge and I got a good coverage, a good medium coverage to full coverage. And then it says give this foundation some serious stamina by dusting powder around your T-zone to calm skin, or use a setting spray for dry skin. I always put on some setting powder around about my eye area to stop creasing and around my nose to stop oil build up. So that was absolutely fine. What else can I tell you about the leaflet? There's some reviews in the back with a few different skin tones here and how it looks, and it has some reviews, obviously all of them 5-star reviews. I'm not going to show you anything else, understandably, but here is how it arrived. This is how it arrives in a black matte box, and inside that is the untraditional, uncompromising, undeniably extra is what it markets itself as in the lid, which I'm not really sure why it does that. It's filled with this straw stuff, and inside that has another box which has the foundation in it. I like the fact that this has got a monochrome design, and yeah, I like the design of the box. I like it Like this, it's very extra wasteful packaging. So people who are minimalists are going to be saying this is very maximalist as it markets itself. Um, and you're right, it's probably wasteful and could be better for that kind of thing. So that's something to note as well. So this is the foundation here. You get 30 mils of it, and it says in the back this is shade 020, and I don't know whether that's the lightest shade or the second lightest shade. You didn't really get the option, you just had to put in I have fair skin, and how fair, how very fair, it's very fair, yada yada yada, all those typical questions that you get. I used this the very first day that I got it. I've been using it continually for 10 days now. And the first time I used it, it was going perfectly. I used it with a damp beauty blender, like I mentioned before. And when I say damp, it's like near enough dry, so it's not very absorbent, and I get a really good coverage. One thing I did want to check was how it oxidised, which for those of you who are not familiar with that term, it means that how the colour changed as the day wore on, because sometimes you'll notice that foundation is marketed sometimes as colour adapting, and for me that just means that it doesn't stay the colour that it goes on to your face as. So I wanted to check if this oxidised any as well. But after the first use of it, I was just using it like a normal foundation, like I always would. I went to put a little bit more onto my face, and the pump didn't work, so it just was blowing air, and I'm thinking, what is this? Maybe it's just blocked a little bit dry or something in there. And I unscrewed the top, and everything seemed fine, but it was not working, and it was really frustrating for me that it wasn't working, because I had to unscrew it and put some on the back of my hand, and that to me was annoying more than anything, because it wasn't working. And a flaw in the packaging, when you're trying to perfect a product, must be really frustrating for the company, but I just wasn't impressed by that whatsoever, particularly after the first use. The second thing was that the cap, so every time I put the cap back on and lifted it off, the insert part of this would come out, so you'd just be left with a little bit, a tiny little cap, the shell of the cap rather than the cap. And again, another flaw in the packaging, so I wasn't very impressed with that. And I was at £34, which I think this is how much the foundation actually is. I wasn't impressed, and I thought I'm going to either get an exchange if I really like the foundation, or have it returned. And that was reason enough for me to think that, particularly after spending so much money on a product. But to be fair, they don't take the money until after the full 14 days has gone up. So what I did was, after that point, is I wanted to check the oxidisation of this, as I mentioned. So I put some onto my skin, and I put some onto my arm as well. And I must say that within about 10 minutes, I had noticed there was a slight orange undertone to it, and that is not good times for me. I'm just not keen on that whatsoever, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't like that either, which is really frustrating, because at this point the foundation was really impressive. I really enjoyed the finish of it, how dewy yet matte it was. I liked the fact how full coverage it is. I was really liking that, and I like the fact that the company believed in their product so much that they were happy to give your money back after 14 days. Not necessarily impressed with that, and so it wouldn't usually be a foundation that I would wear very often. So just putting that out there for you as well. It does oxidise significantly. As the day wears on, in particular, I noticed that it was oxidising a lot over the past 10 days. I also noticed that one of the reasons that the leaflet says to powder your skin to make it last longer is because it does transfer quite a bit as well. So like if I touch my skin now, you'll see that there is a significant amount of foundation on my hand, so it does transfer quite easily, which is quite, I would say, quite normal for a foundation. But when you're paying a significant amount for this foundation and it markets itself as having a matte finish, you would expect that you wouldn't get that level of transfer, particularly on my skin and on people's skin who are not 18 anymore. You'll notice that you might get some crinkling in the fine lines of your face. I noticed that quite considerably, so that would probably be another thing that wasn't a huge selling point to it. Forgetting how this performed, I wanted to get in touch with customer services and test out their customer services as they said they would, and I wasn't happy with the fact the packaging was so sheesh that I wanted it to either get exchanged or refunded. And so I thought that before I would even suggest either of those things, I would just get in touch with the company and let them know my experience of using it. So I got in touch with them and let them know, look, I think your product is actually pretty good and I would love to keep the product, but here is the problem that I'm having with it. Do you have a flaw in the packaging? Is this something that you've noticed before? Are you addressing the situation? Yada yada yada. And the reply that I got was, if you'd like to return this item, please get in touch with us, and we will send you a returns label. It was a standard preset email that somebody had clicked a button to send to me, and I was really unimpressed by that. I really just wanted a personal reply, so I sent them another email saying, thank you for your speedy response, because it was a speedy response. It was within a few hours. Thank you so much for your speedy response. However, I am disappointed with the reply that I received, because I would have preferred to have a personal response. If you could reply to this personally, I would really appreciate it. And the response that I received was, "Hi Holly, we are so sorry that you're disappointed in the packaging of this. Of your purchase. If you would like, we can either exchange this or refund your money for you, no questions asked. Attached is a returns label." Again, you didn't address the damn situation in the first place, Makiage. If you had just turned around and said, "Hi Holly, thanks so much for getting in touch. We were unaware of this situation," or "We are aware of this situation and we are trying our best to resolve it," or anything like that. Anything just to say thanks for the heads up, or just acknowledge the things that I mentioned within the email would have been appreciated. So customer service fail, although plus point was they didn't quibble in the slightest about giving me my money back, so that's a plus point. The other thing I would say though is that this is due to get returned within the 14 days, and I'm obviously going to do that. That's absolutely fine, but they didn't mention if it was a free return, so that's something I'm going to update you on. I'll let you know about that. Yeah, so I wasn't overly impressed with their customer service, but one of the wins was that they definitely stuck to by what they said, and they were not going to quibble and did not quibble about giving your money back or about exchanging the product. They were more than happy to do so and very polite at the same time. Hi everyone, it's Holly from the future. Today is the 20th of May and I wanted to give you a bit of an update on the returns process and how that all went as well. So, like I mentioned in the video, I was going to return the product because it was not performing the way that it should have, and I also wanted to test the 14 days free no quibble thing, and up until that point I hadn't had any problems with anyone in regards to the customer service, because they had just, again like they said, as advertised, they had not quibbled as to why you were returning it. They just simply provided the instructions to return the item. So I was really impressed by that, and I was so keen on the fact that the service was so in belief of their product. They believed in their product so much that they were happy to return it, no quibble, to refund it. So regardless, I was returning the item and I was well within my 14 days. In fact, I was only 7 days within my 14-day bracket when I asked to return the item, and I was provided with a label to do that too, and you basically go drop it off and that's all that happens. So I thought no more of it. I just returned it, and that was on the 25th of April. And I've obviously, now it's the 20th of May, I just assumed that they'd received it and that was fine. But today they have debited a further £40 from my bank account, which means in total I have spent £44 on a foundation that not only was I not overly impressed by, but now I don't have in my possession. So I contacted them and let them know that this had happened, and thought maybe it was just some sort of oversight, and I thought that they would instantly resolve the problem. But actually what they've done is they replied sort of saying, "We have no record of this, and did you use the label provided?" So we all know that that means I'm not going to get my money back, and I feel completely done, like an idiot. £44, I could have spent £44 on taking my boyfriend out, or getting I don't know, getting my hair done or something, I don't know, something like that. Just basically not wasting the money would have been great. But that was my choice to make, because they do charge the £4 initially for the delivery, which is they charge you £4 for the delivery, like I mentioned before. So that was my choice to make, and it was definitely my risk to take as well, but it's definitely not one that paid off, and I would definitely give Il Makiage a big X. I definitely would not recommend using their service, and would avoid at all costs. So take that as you will. Obviously my advice is not, it doesn't have to be taken, but that's just for what it's worth. There's my advice. I didn't have a very positive experience, and if I do ever get my money back, not only will I update the video with the receipts of the whole thing, the receipts, I hate saying that, but with the conversations that were had, but I will also let you know if I was given any compensation back or if I was sent any new product. I don't know. I'll let you know if there is any follow up to it, but that's all I know for now, and hopefully this video has been informative to you. Anyway, back to the video. Sorry to bother you. So definitely not something I had to feel awkward about. And to be honest, if I wanted to, I could have definitely phoned them, but again, the company is over in America. So call 855 again, so you can't really do that, and you can text the number as well. So if you're in America, you can get in touch with them by phoning them or texting them, which is great, but in the UK or any other country it's not really very feasible, although unless they have WhatsApp, they might have WhatsApp, I'm not sure. You can have a look and see. So that was my experience on Il Makiage. The price of it is horrendous, £34 for this. I think that's what it costs anyway. I will double check and put it below for you. Is a lot of money, so I do think that the people who have decided to keep their product are basically paying for the returns of the other people, so be aware of that as well. But the product performs really well, and I would say that I have had my makeup on today so far for the last 3 hours, so far so good. I've not got a huge amount of creasing. I do have some, but not an awful lot, and I didn't notice that it went patchy or anything like that. It stayed pretty consistent, although like I mentioned before, the product does transfer a little bit as well. So just all things to keep in mind when you're buying Il Makiage or any other Instagram purchases, which I can let you know about. I just wanted to give you my full experience and let you know all about it, and I hope that you have enjoyed the video. You can let me know, please let me know in the comments below, and I'm gonna put some links and information in the bar below, so don't forget to check that out and make sure to subscribe. So my next video, I think, is going to be a beauty favourites or a Q&A. I'm not sure which one I'm going to upload next and how long it's going to take for me to upload it, let's be honest, but I will let you know in due course. So random, never mind. Aside from that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a lovely week, whatever you decide to do, and make sure you do all the usual things that I've just mentioned. Take care.